Alright, this video goes over Lab 6, implementing dynamic access control. We're going to be working with the domain controller and server 1, which are just so I only have these two running. I shut this off before I start the video. So during this video we're going to enable and configure the DAC or domain access control. We're going to create and implement a central access policy and enable access denied assistant. The estimated time for this lab is approximately 90 minutes. In this first exercise, we're going to configure a dynamic access control by enabling a KDC support for claims and creating a resource property and resource rule. So the first thing we're going to do is log into the domain controller. And we're going to go into Server Manager. Okay, so now we're going to go into Tools and Group Policy Management. So we already have the forest for Contoso.com expanded, and we want to find domains, which is already here, so that's already expanded. And then here we have Contoso, and now we have to expand domain controllers. So we're here, left click, right click, and edit. Oops, nope, wrong one. We're going to edit the default domain. Okay, so right click, edit. And then we're going to navigate to the computer configuration and expand policies, administrative templates, system, and KDC. And we're going to double click this line right here. Says KDC support for claims, compound authentication, and Kerberos authority. So we're going to double click this. And click enabled. And then click on OK. And then close the group policy management editor and close group policy management. Alright, we're going to go into Tools. Okay, Tools, Active Directory, Administrative Center. And we're going to navigate to the dynamic access control. And then click Claim Types Container, which is this. And I just double clicked it. And then in the task pane, which is right here, so under claim types, we're going to click on New, claim type, user is already selected. We want to click down Department. We're going to have to scroll down to find that. And then click OK. And we're going to do New. Claim type. Under source attribute, we want to slow down or scroll down to description. And then deselect user and select computer. And then click on OK. Maximize this. So we are in the Active Directory Administrative Center. We're going to click on Dynamic Access Control, which we already have selected, and double-click Resource Properties. We're going to click on here, click it once, and then double click. Now we're going to enable Department Resource Property. We have to right click Department and click on Enable. To enable confidentiality, we're going to right click and enable. And then we're going to close the Active Directory Administrative Center. Now we have to go on to Server 1. And we want to go into the Server Manager, Tools, File Server Resource Manager, and expand Classification Management. Okay, before I go into File Server Resource Manager, we have to go ahead and log into Server 2. So I went ahead and I logged into Server 2. Now if we go into Tools, File Server Resource Manager, now under File Server Resource Manager we can expand Classification Management, and then right click Classification Properties. And then refresh. Okay, and if you right click, I've already right clicked it and refreshed it, but as soon as I refreshed it, the confidentiality and department came up. Now, in order to get to this screen, I actually had to reboot server 1, sign in to server 2, and when I signed into server 1, I signed in as Contoso/administrator. So it took a little bit of doing to finally get to this point. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is click on classification rules, right click, create classification rule, and the rule name is going to be confidentiality. And then we're going to click on the scope. And at the bottom of the dialog box, we're going to click on Add. And browse to the C:/shared folder. And then click OK. And then we're going to click on the classification tab. And the method should already be set to content classifier, and it is. We have to go under the parameters. Click on configure. And we're going to change the regular expression to string. And then under expression type HR. This means that if any document contains the string HR, the document is going to be automatically tagged as high confidentiality. So now we're going to go ahead and click on OK to close this dialog box. And then we're going to click on the Evaluation Type tab and select Reevaluate Existing Property Values. And then select Overwrite the Existing Values. And then click on OK. And then under the Actions Manager, okay, and then in File Server Resource Manager, which is what we're in, under the Actions pane, which is right here, we're going to click on Run Classification with All Rules. And then wait for classification to complete, and OK. Okay, here's the report. So I can close out of the report, close out of the Resource Manager, close out of the Server Manager, and then open up File Explorer, open up the shared folder, and double click document 1. I don't have anything in here, so I'm going to create a document 1. new folder, doc1. Oops, that's not right. New rich text document, DOC1, and we're going to type in HR, file, save, close. Now we're going to file server resource manager again. I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to get to it the other way. Search. File server resource manager. And I can ping this. I can pin that. I can actually pin this to my taskbar. Just right click, pin to taskbar, and then click it to open it. And then I can click on application management, properties, classification rules, and go ahead and run and wait.
How much longer do you need on here?
Okay, so I scrolled all the way down, and here is our doc1.rtf, and you can see that the rule has been applied. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and we can close out of this. And that is the end of this exercise. The next exercise, we're going to implement a central access policy. And okay, so we're on server 1. We're going to go into the File Explorer. Right click on the shared folder. Oops. Double click. Right click. Properties and security, and then advanced. And we're going to do add. Select a principal. And we're going to type in domain users. Do check names, and it's underlined, so that's good. It recognizes it. We'll do OK. And then we're going to add a condition. I click on resource, confidentiality equals value high, and I can remove this one. And then when we're done, we're going to go ahead and click on OK. And then click OK here. And then OK to close this dialog box. We'll close out of our file server, or our Explorer. And now we'll go into Server Manager. Tools. Tools. Oh, we need to go to, wrong one. We have to be on Active Directory. I'm trying to find the Active Directory and it's not here. Then I realized we were on server 1, so we need to be on the active or domain controller in order to do that. Okay, so Tools, Active Directory, Administrative Center. And here's our domain access control. And double-click Central Access Policies. So we're going to click it. So now here we have Central Access Policies, and we are going to double-click. Okay, and we're going to click over here to New and Central Access Policy. Here we are going to type Central Access Policy 1. And come down here to Add. Enter. And there's our Central Access Policy 1. Central Access Policy 1. close out of this. Okay, so now we're going to go into add central access rules. And there are none. Okay, so I've created a central access policy 1. Now I'm going to click on the central access, dynamic access control, and left click, right click, central access rules, click on new central access rule, and then we are going to name it central access rule 1. And then under target resources, I'm going to click on edit, add a condition, okay, so we did add a condition, and we have resource confidentiality equals value high, and then OK, and then OK to close, create central access rule dialog box. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK to close that. Here's our central access policy. Double click it. Add. I want to add this. And then OK. And then OK again. And then we are going to close out of Active Directory. And then go back into Server Manager. Then we're going to click on Tools, Group Policy Management. And then we're going to right-click Default Domain Policy and edit. Then navigate to Computer Configuration. Oops. Edit. Policies. Windows Settings. Security Settings. And then we're going to choose or expand file system. There's our central access policy. And double click, oops, right click, open. There we go, manage. I'll click on add and then OK. And now we're going to flip over to server 1 and go to the command prompt for admin. So right click, command prompt admin, and we're going to do the GP update space / force command. Enter. Let's try that again. GP update space / force space command. I'm going to try doing this in PowerShell. Okay, so it's just GP update / force. Okay. And then we're going to click on the File Explorer. Go ahead and close out of this. File Explorer. Double click here. And double click shared folder. Right click on Doc1. And go into Properties. And click on the Security tab. Advanced. And Central Policy. Security, advanced. Here we have permissions, share, auditing, effective access. Okay, so we're missing the central policy. So I'm going to do OK, then OK, and go back to the domain controller. Edit. Let's close out of this for a minute. Close out of this. Let's go back. I had created a icon on the taskbar for the Active Directory Administrative Center, so I'm just going to use it to click it. You can access it through the server manager into tools. I just found it was quicker to go it this way. Okay, let me just make sure everything's in here. We have central access. And I'm going to go ahead and double click. And it's here. Okay, it just says it's proposed and current. edit. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and apply proposed. And then go ahead and do OK. Now I should be able to close out of this, minimize this, and go back into server 1 and navigate to the doc 1, right click, properties, advanced, oops, security, advanced, and I need to go back to the command prompt. Admin gp update / force. Okay, it's updated successfully. Now I should be able to right click, properties, security, advanced, and then OK, and then OK.